Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to I Am the Universe podcast with Martin Cowart. And I'm so excited today to have our guest, Dr. Anita Prasad. She is the first trans woman, openly trans woman, to come out as a trans woman from India, Indian born in Germany. She is now a German resident. She's been a German resident for about 23 years. And she is an advocate and a writer and an influencer and a change agent for LGBTQ people, and most especially for empowering transgender people to step into the courage to be their authentic selves. So, Dr. Anita, just quickly tell us a little bit, give the audience a little sample of what they're going to come away. What new awareness are they going to come away with today if they listen to our podcast?
Fantastic. Thank you, Martin, for inviting for this podcast. And it's my pleasure to join you here today. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited to share some of the information that I'm trying to use to bring the higher self-awareness to one. And secondly, we are also trying to target the kind of inclusivity drive in whole of India, which is highly populated country of this world today, which you all know. And I'm quite excited to share much more information and details with you guys.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm excited to know. I mean, you're right. It's got one of the most populated countries in the world with a lot of diversity.
Absolutely.
Particularly in the space of spiritual and religious.
Absolutely.
And so I think you're tasked to try to pull all that together through the common element of love is what's powerful. So everyone stick around because we're going to come back to Dr. Anita in just a second. Before we do, as you know, every week we dedicate our show to one of my influencers. That is somebody out in the world that has influenced me over the years to be the person that I am today. And I'm really excited today to dedicate this show to Brene Brown. Brene Brown is a teacher and a speaker, and she's well known for speaking about vulnerability. And I'm a public speaker, and I do speak, and I always go back to that TED Talk that she did years ago. It's probably one of the most popular TED Talks in the world on vulnerability. And if you haven't seen that TED Talk, I highly recommend that you go and watch Dr. Brene Brown's TED Talk on vulnerability. And the reason why I bring that up is because she will tell you the bravest thing anybody will ever do in their lifetime is to share their story. Because it's in the sharing of our story that we become vulnerable. But we cannot impact other people. We can't be a change agent unless we have the courage to share our story to the world. Because that gives other people the opportunity to share their story and find their authentic self and find out who they are. So today, this show is dedicated to one of my favorite influencers, Dr. Brene Brown. So, Dr. Anita, thank you again for being here with us today. You're a writer, you're a speaker, you're an influencer. I'm just going to leave it completely up to you to tell the story you want our audience to hear, to get to know who you are and how you're making an impact in the world, especially for everybody in the LGBT community, but especially the transgender community who really have a tough way of going in our world today. Let's just be honest. It is tough to be transgender in our world today.
Absolutely. Martin, let me first tell you that, I'm operating in a country which is, of course, certainly India. Of course, this is a highly populated country, as I said, and it's a democratic and diverse, as you rightly pointed out, with too many people, too many cultures, and too many believers. And also we have the influence of colonialism and also the Mughals who entered about 500 years ago. We have a big history that, we can speak about. But the good news and the good part is the Indian culture or the Indian society itself, the Hinduism, which we speak about, has been inclusive culture all through. So that's the biggest plus point here the world has to see, because that's the only religion, I'm sorry, I'm not promoting any religion here, but that's the only religion in the world which has the highest amount of inclusivity, and they were open for accepting any sort of LGBT plus community in their regular lifestyle, right? So this is the way it was going. Now coming to the
I want to just stop right there. That is a piece of information I did not know, and that's a very important piece of. Would you say Hinduism is the largest religion or the largest in India?
Yes, Hinduism plays the largest religion, absolutely, and we have other religions too, but Hinduism dominates in India. Absolutely right.
And so it makes the challenge a little less if Hinduism has always embraced the queer community. Is that what we're saying?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
Because they look at every living creature inclusive. So we never have any sort of problem in terms of convincing anyone, because Hinduism has an inclusive culture by itself. That's the big plus and advantage. So because of these Mughals and the other people who entered into India and the colonial mindset that's been infused, so many are still influenced by that. The kind of direction which they are walking is basically lost. So our interest is to point them out and explain them pretty clearly about the inclusive society, which is a very, very important subject, because worldwide the LGBT plus community is struggling hard for this particular reason, as you see, and it's been a big challenge, and the governments are coming out bills after bills, and the problems are increasing every day. So this is a big issue everywhere that we need to notice. And for this reason, I would say that the most important topic which I point out today, you take up any sort of any sort of society, that this society has a taboo system, a fear which has been built, right? So it's basically the whole system works on fear, religious levels, and so many other problems that one is mounted with. And end of the day, we do not have the freedom to think and work on our interest, our levels. Let's say today I want to focus on one of the topic, and then I take it as a specialization itself. And if I'm looking at specialization itself today, right, I'm limiting my thoughts, I'm limiting my ideologies, I'm limiting in the society into that particular specialization, and I'm only having a fear that I need to achieve the best out of it, right? So this is a huge problem, this itself, that one has to work with, and to see that how do we overcome with this kind of issues, that one is free. As you rightly said, that breathe in, breathe out, the techniques, and then you are free, right? So this is very important, that the society understands the basics of it, and gets into that kind of a free mindset that they can start operating upon. That's a very important scenario. And the second topic is the scientific reasons, or the knowledge spreading information is still not being done many times in the society, right? So this is a huge subject by itself. So this requires a lot of advocates across the world in order to vouch, in order to stand by themselves. It's not going to be a one-man show for sure. So everyone need to stand united to drive this to the next level. So this is a very important subject.
Yeah, I want to just plug into something that you said earlier. It is, and I find it so. I do a lot of work in Africa, and our mission in Africa is to turn Africa upside down. Right now, it's probably one of the most frightening places for gay people to live in the world. But our mission, my partner and I mission, is to turn Africa upside down.
Exactly.
You said something a little while ago that I think is true. I think there is a very, very strong but thin veneer of fear and homophobia in Africa. We'll talk about Africa because I know more about that.
Yes.
But it comes from white colonialism. It was learned by the white person that came there and stole their children.
Absolutely.
And they created a belief in their heads that the more they believed and the more they behaved like the white person, who was actually taking them over, the more power they had.
Absolutely.
And nothing could be further from the truth. Well, basically what happened is in Africa, my judgment, from getting to know them, is the African people have given up their power to the white man. And what we're really talking about is getting their power back.
Yeah.
Getting their power back to the heart. Because I have discovered in Africa that when you scratch below that surface, every African I've met, straight or gay, when I get below that surface, they've got a humongous heart. There is nothing more loving, nothing more beautiful. And I don't care whether you're straight, you're gay, the African heart is huge. And that's what we're leaning into to heal homophobia in Africa, is with love.
Absolutely. I think these are the techniques that one has to work with, and there's no other go that they have to focus upon. It's definitely going to be a very hard work. It may take few years before you actually start reaching the right crowd and to communicate the right information to them. But yeah, in my view, it's a long journey ahead.
What would you say in the last year has been your biggest challenge in India in all your work? I'll leave it to wherever you want to put it. But what has been your biggest challenge that you've turned into an opportunity to solve?
Let me tell you, in India, there are plenty of, let's say, if you look at the transgender itself, right? I bring into consideration of transgender as a topic. So when I talk about transgender itself is divided in two different levels. So one is a culture by itself, because India has one of the oldest culture by the transgender itself. So this dates back almost like 8,000 years, right? So this itself is huge. And apart from that, you also have trans women like me, and then trans men, and then you have LGBTQ plus, this goes on. This is a huge initiative by itself, right? So this is a big topic that we need to address. And there are certain practices and there are certain procedures which has been accepted and been followed by the transgender in India. But the trans women actually would have to go through this kind of a challenge, and to explain to the society that we need to, we are different, firstly, and then secondly, what exactly is this transgender itself, and how they need to adapt and start working towards it. So this has been my biggest challenge that I have come across and seen in India per se. So this is the only subject which I need to extend best of the knowledge that is necessary for the society, and communication is most important in local languages, and we need to express these people the right set of, let's say, the kind of inclusive society that we are speaking about, and the progressive society. So this is a bigger challenge that I'm actually undergoing.
Wow. I'm gonna throw something on the screen really quick. This is somebody who's a trans woman. She's watching from Uganda, and you and I both know that Uganda has some of the harshest, the cruelest laws for the LGBT. They have the kill the gay law.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is that it's actually legal for a parent, for parents to kill their children who come out as gay.
Yeah.
And because it's considered a curse there. And they're basically, I guess there's a thought that they're saving the family name. And that is why so many of the 1,000 refugees living in the camp and asylum seekers come from Uganda. And here's a woman named Pastris Agi, a proud trans woman watching from Uganda. What advice could you give her to help take care of herself in a country that is not very friendly, and almost it can be deadly to be in that country?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, because the kind of, let's say, the prejudice or the mindset or the trans misogyny that they carry, it's a very difficult subject that by itself. that we don't know the kind of depth that we can give her the exact advice or give them the exact advice how they need to probably place themselves. But the best thing is to save themselves, not to land in Kakuma for sure. That's important. And then try to see the possibility that they have a different a land for themselves that they reach in order to build a better life in the society for the time being, because the society requires the realignment, the knowledge sharing, and it requires a lot of energy and efforts, because we don't want any harsh situations to happen to anyone else. So this is very important that one has to take a self-defensive mechanism today, and then try to see to it that they work upon it and they build upon it, and also see to it that their countrymen are communicated with the right set of information in the coming days.
Yeah, and I would add on top of that, just doing what you're doing now. Keep as low a profile as possible.
Exactly.
Don't put your. And I tell this to even in Kenya. I mean, we recently had a brilliant young trans woman fashion designer who was brutally killed and stuffed in a trash can right in Kenya, right in Nairobi, near Nairobi.
Absolutely.
And so it's just not safe to go out. So I know you want to express yourself as who you are, but just find safe containers to be in, those safe where you can be with your people, because you need that connection. You need that love and support. So I would say find safe places to be yourselves.
And most important, Martin, if I may give them few advices in words, that they should actually start focusing on their health rather than they focusing on something else, which is from the society or the external influences that they are coming into, or the humiliations that they are getting into, or the anxiety problems. You see today what's happening in America. Every kid or in Australia, they just see the TikTok and they come out today and then they say, okay, look what's happening to me. I'm, I have a mental disorder, right? I mean, they're just going across, and this is becoming a huge problem. And today, America and Australia has the highest amount of demand for psychiatrists, and they're running out of psychiatrists. So who is actually causing this kind of a war? Right? I mean, it's a digital war. I would also say that, we are succumbing into these kind of issues, and this is mostly political driven, or any, influence that someone is having with that kind of old thought processes. I think we just need to start protecting ourselves. The way, Corona taught us the COVID-19, all the economies started to close. Shut down the doors, then becoming global entrepreneurs, and then trying to see, okay, I'm going to produce it in China, or I'm going to produce it in some elsewhere. So this is the kind of focus that we need to bring in also, that one has to focus in order to see to it that you maintain a good health, your safety, and you have the energy to think positively, to move ahead. This is the most important subject. I know everyone are facing financial crisis, financial turmoil. Not only you, the whole globe is facing the financial turmoil. It is not only these people who are in Uganda or in Africa that they are going through this kind of financial turmoil. That this is a very important subject, because you see many people are losing jobs, they are depressed, they have anxiety disorders. We are already in mental pandemic. The world is in mental pandemic. So how do we save ourselves? And with these mental pandemic people, we have to rescue ourselves and build our own life ahead. So imagine the kind of competition and the challenge that we are actually going through today.
Yeah, that is spot on, Dr. Anita, and I can't agree with you more. I mean, and I would even expand that to make it, when we make self-love, which includes self-care, physically taking care of ourselves, our health,
absolutely,
our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health, and we do that with self-love and self-care. And when you make self-love and self-care, that is the key, and build relationships around that. That is your key out of that, what I'm going to call mental slavery.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Here's another comment from a member of my team, actually. Paul Camareza works with me at Financial Heart Space, and he asks, every long journey starts with a single step. I believe we can achieve that. I agree with you, Paul. What do you have to say about his comment, Dr. Anita?
Every journey is a simple step, of course. First thing, as I said, educate yourself, remain calm. These are the very important steps. The first steps, the baby steps, I would say that, please move ahead. And then the second level is make sure that, you are having a clear-cut plan, a progressive step ideology that you are bringing to your own life, because sitting in a faraway place, a distance somewhere in the global economy, each of us, we don't know, and neither I can give any personal advices or ideologies that I can pass over. But it's very important that one has to see to it that we are reaching our safety first, and then trying to take this baby steps to the next level. That's a very important suggestion.
I want to talk about one little baby step that I'm always talking about, and
Mm-hmm.
that is meditation. Finding some way to connect with that zone of genius, to connect to that heart, to connect to that empower yourself. What are your thoughts about meditation and as a way to practice self-love, and as a way to get intimate with that deeper authentic?
Can I tell you, firstly, they need to get into something called as intuition. The intuition is a higher self, firstly, right? Mm-hmm. So they have to reach this intuition to realize themselves what exactly is within me, and what is those small cells talking to me within me, right? So how do I start working to the next phase, next steps? This is a very, very important step that one has to take to make the progress. And certainly the meditation, once you have a free mind, right? The most important thing is, whoever I speak from Africa, they're not free. They come to me with problem. When they have a problem already identified, they're not free. Even you teach them the meditation will not work for them. This is a very important step, that one has to be considering themselves free from the bondages. Neither I'm plus nor I'm minus. So when I'm into this in between space, and I'm in my own happiness sphere, right? Anger comes from yesterday. Happiness is today. Tomorrow is fear. Am I right? So if we are able to bring this kind of a balance and set ourselves into a realization phase, no matter what sort of a meditation, who teaches what, or do any sort of inner engineering, there are many people who are offering such topics across the world. It's not going to help, because you are already in a problem area. Any meditation can just calm you down, but it won't give you that kind of freedom. Once you wake up, you're back in you're the same animal.
Yeah,
you're the same rash driver on the street.
I think you have to. I think you have to. What I suggest is having a meditation with an intention.
Yeah,
to free your mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you set an intention to free your mind, you will free your mind. And the way I talk about that is to surrender that, all those beliefs and all those opinions that a mind is constantly feeling. I call it the shadow. The
Yes.
shadow is the part of it. We all know, we all have one. The shadow is the opposite of the light.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have a shadow without a light, right?
Exactly.
So what I suggest is, when you set an intention to feel whatever you're feeling, if you're feeling fear, feel the fear with all your heart and all your soul, and love it as a newborn child.
Absolutely agree.
Don't be afraid of the feeling. Feel the feeling. If you're feeling mourning, if you're feeling sadness, there's nothing that will take you deeper into your heart than mourning, than the sense of loss. It opens up that heart to vulnerability, to go deeper inside ourselves. And when we go into that deeper self, that higher field of consciousness, we're not afraid of anything. We are free of that. We are mentally emancipated from all that stuff and all that noise in our head that's telling us we're not good enough. We're not, and it's a shadow. It's not true. And you know it's not true, because shadow is always coming from fear. It's always coming from fear and judgment.
Absolutely.
And everything in the world can be explained as either coming from fear and judgment, or it's coming with love and gratitude. And our job in meditation is just to constantly be transmuting that fear and judgment into love and gratitude. Yeah.
Absolutely. Completely agreed. So this is a very important step, that one has to walk through and try to work towards this. Otherwise, you have no go.
Yeah, you have nothing. So I'm going to leave this last part up to you. We got about another 5 minutes, which I'm just loving this conversation with you. And it's very, very, I'm sure that I know people who are watching from Uganda, popping from the Kakuma land, you're giving them hope right now.
It is, because it is a hope that they need to have. And secondly, for the hope, they need to remain positive, to work towards that hope, to make it into reality. And that's why I said, work on the intuition. Once your intuitions are ready, you dream certain topics. And once you dream on those topics, you manifest it. You let that manifest. Once there is a manifestation, nothing will stop you. You're automatically a superhuman being. You will start walking your steps. You don't need you or me or anyone. You yourself is a great animal. Why do you need somebody else to help you?
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the whole point, isn't it?
Exactly.
The mind thinks you need another human being
Exactly.
to help you.
Exactly.
But when you know you're the universe itself, you're the one helping others.
Exactly. Hey, look, please help me. I said, guys, you please realize your own self. You can do wonders. You are an amazing person.
Yeah, I know Deke really well. I've known him for a little while. He's a beautiful, beautiful man. And why don't you talk a little bit about, he's just being honest right now. He does live in the Kakuma camp, and it's really hell and it's hard. So what do you want to say to Deke right now to give him some encouragement and give him some
I'll
hope?
tell you, there are plenty of possibilities. There are many who came to me and then they said they want to do some business, they want to sell something, or they want to make a poultry business, or they want to learn to be an IT engineer or something like this. There are plenty of possibilities. As I said, there are plenty of free courses also available today on internet. Instead of connecting to many people, these guys could focus on themselves for a bit more, go into that Coursera or Skillshare, or I don't know, there are thousands of websites, who offer the free trainings today. If they are in a position to grab a bit of knowledge for themselves in order to gain an entry into this new world. Obviously, we all are working towards it. We have filed for the petition, and then, Alexander, of course, from Choice. I'm also part of now Choice, and then we also had a discussion that how do we work towards it. I'm really excited. I want to collaborate with you guys and make sure that this is a possibility that we are trying to rescue those who are in Kakuma, because I have more than 20 GB of data today about Kakuma, which is certainly it's a shame to the world. It's a shame to United Nations. I'm sorry, but this is the situation. But I hope that these people are working towards it, or at least they wake up someday in order to help Kakuma people. And then the second thing is at least give them the real life that they are promised with. Many people thought that they will go into this wonderful lifestyle, but unfortunately, see what happened. This is a disaster.
Yeah, I just
pass over the message to the world. Please don't go to Kakuma.
Well, if it will save your life, I would agree with her. Go to Kenya, but don't go to Kenya. Go to Kenya,
Exactly,
and give us a call, and we're going to help you. There are some safe houses there in Kenya.
exactly.
Based on, you gave me a wonderful segue, because we realize this is the problem we have with people living in the camp. This is why you say not to go to the camp. It's impossible for them to connect to the internet. They don't have any money. They don't have the tools, and they don't have, so those that are here today from the Kakuma camp, they had to buy data, and and while it might be only $5 for me, that's they don't have it. So I want to tell everybody today is some good news. We've been running a pilot program in Nairobi for about a year to educate people on and give them the basic skills that they need in order to be employable. Because there's a big gap between where they are today and where they need to be to be employable. And so we're filling that gap, because the biggest problem for LGBTQ people in Africa is unemployment, because it's considered a curse, and straight people won't hire you because they don't want to be part of you, and they're afraid you're going to bring your business down. So what we're doing is we're creating an academy and it's just beginning. So don't get your hopes. It's not going to happen like tomorrow, but it is happening. I mean, we're in research mode and we're moving it into the world right now. And we're very excited about it, to do exactly that, to teach you and also with some money. You know, we've got to get some, it's a scholarship program. It's a mentoring program where we're raising money to cover your costs for 3 months to eat, connect to the internet, and have the basic tools you need to be able to do that. So Dr. Anita and I are both in alignment on what's going to solve the problem is
Absolutely.
to learn the skills you need, because you can't, it's illegal for even refugees to work in Kenya.
Yes.
But if we can transcend the local economy and go up into the internet, which is where billions of dollars are being made,
Absolutely.
we can all become millionaires. We can become rich gay people.
Absolutely.
In the middle of Kenya. Wouldn't that
Fully
be fun?
agreed. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Because that's what we're doing. We're going to become rich gay people, filthy
Good
rich
luck to
gay people
everyone.
right there in the middle of Kenya. And
Absolutely.
we're going to build this city out of love. That's what we're doing. And we're just getting it started. And I wanted to share one other little bit of good news from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We got a wonderful gift. We got offered a wonderful gift to seed this new project from the Episcopal Diocese of Newark. Has offered us $5,000 to plant this seed. And that's powerful. That is powerful. And they planted that seed. They gave me, they offered me this money when I told a stranger the story of what we're doing. And he was so inspired. And so, I had no idea who the stranger was, by the way. But this guy, listen, he said to me, after telling him the story of what we're doing to solve this problem, I just described it. He said, could money help? I said, absolutely, money could help. He said, how about $5,000? I said, $5,000 would change the world for us. He said, you don't know who I am, do you? And I said, no, I don't know who you are, but I'm certainly delighted with your offer. It turns out this guy who sat down by me by random chance, but I don't believe anything random. I believe everything is defined by the universe, turned out to be the chair of Oasis. And Oasis is the LGBTQ ministry, outreach ministry for the community for the Diocese of Newark. So this whole project, the seed money, the seed support is coming from the Diocese of Newark, an Episcopalian Diocese of Newark, which is the same as the Anglican Church in Africa. So, and that's how we make a difference. Because if we can get the Anglican Church to wake up to what's going on and join us on the American side, that can make a huge, huge impact on what we're doing. So I just want to announce that we're making progress. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're getting there. So don't give up hope. We're going to get you. We're doing this. We're doing it with an intention and with a connection to the divine, and we're going to make it happen. You want to add I'm going to ask you to add a final comment, Dr. Anita. And also I want to know that if people want to get in touch with you, what is the best, simplest, quickest way for someone to get in touch with you and get to know you?
Absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram, pretty active. And my Facebook is unfortunately full. So best way to connect me is Instagram or LinkedIn. And I'm pretty much available. And I'm ready to help you guys, whatever the ideologies or any extra otherwise. And yeah, I'm looking forward to all best. There's no issues. Most welcome.
So this is for, I'm going to read it out so the people who are listening by the podcast. Her name is Dr. Anita Prasad, and that's Dr. Anita Prasad, Prasad. Did I pronounce it correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's Dr. Anita Prasad. You can find her on LinkedIn and Instagram. Please send her a direct message, connect with her. I know for a fact that she would be delighted to get to know you. And I would too. I would love to get to know you. You can do it. You can send a direct message to me. You can also join our Facebook group, the Zone of Genius for LGBTQ plus leaders and change agents. You're welcome to join that. It's a private community for us to love and support each other in this mission. So, Dr. Anita, thank you again so much for joining me.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for this wonderful evening.
Oh, it's just been a joy. I just loved when I met you a few weeks ago. I just had such a lovely conversation, and I just felt the power and your love and your heart. And I just couldn't wait for you to get on the show today and share your story with people to give them the hope and the inspiration they need, because it's nothing like hearing from somebody who's experienced it themselves to understand that there is hope in the future, and there is.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So may love and prosperity prevail across the world today.
Thank you.